let's talk about the Civilian Conservation Corps and how nature saved America's youth during the Great Depression. FYI, I am risking life and limb sitting under this walnut tree. It's a risk. Hey, I'm Molly from Project ReWild and the Forest Bathing Society, and I'm really excited to talk to you about the Civilian Conservation Corps. So picture this. They're falling. Picture this. It's 1933. The streets are filled with desperate faces, empty storefronts, and long lines at the soup kitchens. The Great Depression has America in its grips, and the nation's youth are bearing the brunt of it. But amidst the bleakness, an unlikely hero emerges. Not a caped crusader, but Mother Nature herself. In the depth of this economic crisis, President Franklin D. Roosevelt unveiled a bold plan that would not only put food on the table, but it would also plant hope in the hearts of millions. Enter the Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC, a cornerstone of the New Deal. And that would transform both the American landscape and the lives of so many of its young men. Imagine being 18 with no job prospects and a family to support. Now imagine being offered not just a paycheck, but a chance to rebuild your country with your own two hands. This was the promise of the CCC. It was more than just a work program. It was a lifeline for a generation on the brink. So in this video, we're going to dive into the story of the CCC. We'll uncover how its innovative program didn't just combat unemployment, it unleashed the healing power of nature on a wounded nation. From the Dust Bowl to verdant forests, from despair to purpose, this is the tale of how America's youth found salvation in the great outdoors. Join us as we explore how the Civilian Conservation Corps planted seeds of recovery that would grow into a legacy still visible in our parks and forests today. This, my friends, is the story of how nature saved America's youth during the Great Depression. Let's start by talking about the creation and the purpose of the CCC. On March 31st, 1933, just weeks into his presidency, Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Executive Order number 6101, breathing life into one of the most ambitious and transformative programs of the New Deal, the Civilian Conservation Corps. So picture this, the country is reeling from the Great Depression. 1 in 4 Americans is unemployed. And the hardest hit are young men between the ages of 18 and 25. Sound familiar? Their future seemingly evaporated before their eyes. It's against this backdrop that FDR's bold vision starts to take shape. The CCC's mission was twofold: to provide jobs for these young men and to conserve and develop America's natural resources. It was, as Roosevelt himself put it, a situation where we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can take a group of unemployed men, give them useful work, within that process, create something of permanent value for the whole of America. But this wasn't just about handing out paychecks. The CCC aimed to instill discipline, build character, and teach valuable skills. Young men would leave their homes, often for the first time, to live in camps across the country. There, they would work in conservation projects, planting trees, building parks, and fighting soil erosion. The program, though, was a logistical marvel. Within just 3 months of its creation, 250,000 young men were enrolled. By the time the program ended in 1942, it had employed over 3 million Americans. That's 3 million Americans in 1933. This wasn't merely a make-work program, though. The CCC had a clear focus: to heal and develop America's natural landscape. From the dusty plains of the Midwest to the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, the CCC workers were tasked with this beautiful, powerful job of restoring and improving the nation's natural heritage. In essence, the CCC was more than just a response to an economic crisis. It was a bold reimagining of the relationship between young Americans, their government, and the natural world. And as we'll see, its impact would stretch far beyond the realms of employment and conservation. Hey, have your family members ever participated in a government work program like this? Share your experiences in the comments below. Let's talk about the impact the CCC had on nature. The impact of the Civilian Conservation Corps on America's natural landscape was nothing short of extraordinary. Let's paint a picture for the scale and scope of their achievements. First, consider the trees. The CCC didn't just plant a few saplings here and there as they felt like it. Instead, they embarked on a reforestation effort of epic proportions. Over the course of the program, the CCC workers planted more than 3 billion trees. Yeah, that's billion with a B. That's about 3 trees for every person living in America at that time. From the windswept plains of the Dust Bowl to the wind-ravaged forests of the West, these trees helped combat soil erosion, provided wildlife habitats, and literally changed the face of the American landscape. But the CCC's green thumbs didn't stop at planting trees. They were also the architects of America's state park system as we know it today. Before the CCC, state parks were a rarity. By the time the program had ended, more than 800 new state parks had been created or improved. That's 800 new spaces for Americans to connect with nature, to picnic, to hike, to swim, and to escape the pressures of daily life. And speaking of hiking, let's talk about trails. The CCC built thousands of miles of trails and roads in our national parks. They constructed bridges, erected fire towers, and built countless campgrounds. Imagine hiking in Yellowstone or driving through Yosemite today. Chances are you're benefiting from the back-breaking work of the CCC enrollees nearly a century ago. That's the CCC's work isn't just about creating pretty scenery. They tackled critical environmental issues head-on. They fought forest fires, they implemented erosion control measures, and they even introduced modern conservation techniques to farmers. In essence, the CCC didn't just provide jobs, it reshaped America's relationships with its natural resources. It turned conservation from a lofty ideal into a tangible reality. The forests we walk through, the parks we play in, and the trails we hike all bear the incredible mark of the CCC. But perhaps the most remarkable thing about the CCC's impact on nature is its longevity. Nearly a century later, we're still reaping the benefits of their labor. The trees they planted still stand tall. The parks they built still welcome millions of visitors each year, and the trails they carved still guide us through America's natural wonders. In transforming the landscape, the CCC did more than conserve nature. They created a living, growing legacy that continues to enrich our lives today. Hey, if you're enjoying this journey through American history and nature, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because I'm going to be releasing some more videos about some fantastic historical movements in America, in Canada, and you don't want to miss it. So make sure you subscribe. Let's talk about the mental and emotional benefits that this program had on its participants. The Civilian Conservation Corps' impact on America's landscape is visible and measurable. Its effect on the hearts and minds of its participants are equally profound, if not a little less tangible. Here, imagine being a young man in the 1930s with no job, no prospects, and this gnawing sense of hopelessness. Now picture yourself transported to the great outdoors. Your days are filled with purposeful work, your nights spent under star-filled skies. This was the transformative experience of CCC enrollees. The physical labor in nature proved to be a potent tonic for mental and emotional well-being. CCC workers often arrived malnourished and kind of dispirited. But the combination of regular meals, hard work, and immersion in nature worked its wonders. Many reported significant improvements in their physical health and, more surprisingly, in their mental outlook as well. One former CCC worker put it this way, quote, "I went in a boy and came out a man." This sentiment was echoed by thousands. The work was hard, no doubt, but it instilled a sense of purpose and accomplishment that had been sorely lacking in their lives. Each tree planted, each trail blazed, each park improved was a tangible achievement. These young men would point to their work and say, "I did that. I made a difference." But perhaps the most enduring benefit was the camaraderie forged in the CCC camps themselves. Young men from diverse backgrounds, from cities to country, from rich to poor, different ethnicities, found themselves working side by side, sharing meals and facing challenges together. The bonds formed in these camps often lasted a lifetime. Many CCC alumni would later say that the friendships they made in the Corps were amongst the most meaningful in their lives. The CCC experience also broadened horizons. Many enrollees had never left their hometowns before. Now, they were exposed to different parts of the country, different ways of life, and a wider world of possibilities. This expansion of perspectives was invaluable, especially for young men who had seen their world shrink during the depths of the Depression. Moreover, the skills learned in the CCC, from forestry to stonework to leadership, proved valuable later in life. Many CCC alum went on to careers in conservation, parks management, and other related fields. Others applied the work ethic and skills that they gained to success in entirely different careers. In essence, the CCC didn't just provide jobs, it proved a transformative experience. It took young men at their lowest point and gave them not just employment, but purpose, friendship, skills, and a future, and a renowned sense of self-worth. The forests and parks they built were impressive, but perhaps even more valuable was the restoration of hope and dignity to a generation of young Americans. As one CCC veteran reflected years later, he says, quote, "We were poor, but we had something money couldn't buy. We had the satisfaction of doing something worthwhile, of contributing to society. In nurturing both nature and the human spirit, the CCC left an indelible mark on both the American landscape and the lives of those who served." As we look back on the Civilian Conservation Corps, we see more than just a Depression-era work program. We see a powerful testament to the transformative power of nature and purposeful work. The CCC's legacy is etched into the very landscape of America. The trees they planted now stand tall, providing shade, clean air, and homes for wildlife. The parks they built continue to offer respite and recreation for millions. The trails they carved still guide us through America's natural wonders, but perhaps even more profound is the impact on the men who served. The CCC didn't just provide jobs, it restored dignity, it instilled hope, and it forged unbreakable bonds. It showed that even in the darkest of times, with vision and collective effort, we can build something lasting and beautiful. And as we face our own modern challenges, from economic uncertainty to climate change, to this divide in this country, the story of the CCC offers both inspiration and a potential roadmap. It reminds us that solutions to our biggest problems can often be found in nature, and that investing in our environment and in our youth can yield dividends for generations to come. The CCC proved that when we nurture nature, nature nurtures back. It's a lesson as relevant today as it was a century ago. So, what's our call to action? How can we honor this legacy and reconnect with the healing power of nature in our own lives? Well, here's a start. Experience the rejuvenating effects of nature for yourself. Try a free ReWild forest bathing session. Forest bathing is inspired by the Japanese practice of Shinrin-yoku, and it's a guided mindful walk in nature that is reducing your stress, it's boosting your mood, and it boosts your overall well-being in so many ways. Subscribe to the channel if you want to know more. It's a simple yet powerful way to tap into those same natural healing that the CCC workers experienced decades ago. And here's the thing, you don't need to plant 1 billion trees. You don't even need to plant a single tree. You don't even need to carve a path in a national forest. Because sometimes all it takes is a mindful walk in the woods to remind us of our connection to the natural world and to each other. The link to sign up for a free session is down in the description below, or I think there's a QR code on the screen. You might just start your own personal connection with nature right then and there. Remember, the forests and the parks around us are more than just beautiful scenery. They're living monuments to what we can achieve when we work together and we reconnect with the natural world. So go step outside, breathe deep, and let nature work its magic. After all, if it could help save a generation during the Great Depression, imagine what it could do for you.